Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my very first Q&A. Everybody likes Q&As, right? What? Not everybody? You don't like Q&As? Okay, no problem. You know what to do, right? So, if you don't like Q&As, get the hell out of my kitchen. Roll the intro. Okay, so I've asked you guys on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram account to ask me any at all questions, and you guys came through. You really have some interesting questions I'm gonna answer today. I hope I can get through all of them, and hopefully this doesn't turn into a 45-minute video. If it does, sorry, I'm stubborn in that way. I wanna answer everybody, so bear with me on this one, guys. So let's begin without any particular order. Let's see the questions you guys asked. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, because I'm not really good with names. So David Villegas asks, favorite recipe of yours is? It doesn't say a favorite anabolic recipe or a recipe in general. For my favorite non-anabolic recipe, it has to be a homemade pizza, man. A homemade pizza, but not the way you'd expect. I have access to a pizza oven, you know, that round oven made out of stone. You have to make a fire in out of hardwood. In my opinion, that's the best pizza in the world. You can't compare that to a gas stove, electric oven, or any other type of pizza oven. The traditional pizza oven is where it's at. So, favorite recipe, homemade pizza in an old school hardwood pizza oven. Open Boxer Miguel has two questions. What's the worst recipe you've tried to make? So the worst recipes I ever tried involved animal organs. The only animal organ I like is the liver. I love me some liver and onions, but only chicken liver. The absolute worst recipe I've ever tried has to be deep fried pork brains. For Miguel's second question, diet hacks and tips. So I don't think I can come up with any revolutionary diet hack with anything new besides the common sense ones. As you know, there are no quick solutions to dieting. So apart from tracking your calories, learning nutrition, learning what high calorie dense food is, what low calorie dense food is, not drinking your calories. I could add to that list, always cook your food so you know exactly what's in it. Don't trust labels, labels always lie. And the most important diet hack is don't let a bad meal turn into a bad day. And don't let a bad day turn into a bad week. Don't let a bad week turn into a bad month, and so on and so forth. You need to take action, because every once in a while, all of us, and I mean all of us, will fall off track. But we need to dust ourselves and get back on the saddle as soon as possible. Don't have that black and white mentality. I screwed up because I ate a chocolate bar, fuck it, the whole day is wasted, might as well binge the rest of the day. No, don't do that. If you made a bad choice and ate something you shouldn't have, get right back on track, and don't let it turn into a full-on binge, and don't let it spiral out of control for the next week, month, or so on. Next question. Sarah at ppk.pt asks, did you start cooking because you're curious about it, or do you feel some resentment towards your mommy who didn't cook as healthy as you needed to stay on track with your body needs? Whoa, that's a really interesting one. I guess it's a bit of both actually, because I've always been intrigued by cooking. My mom is an amazing cook, she cooks really well, but as you can expect, really high in calories. I was always around my kitchen when mom used to cook, especially when she cooked something interesting. But when I discovered low calorie dense foods and the fact that I could turn around the high calorie stuff and transform it into a low calorie recipe, I was even more intrigued. And I started learning nutrition. I started to learn and experiment and see how I can transform all of my favorite childhood recipes into low calorie versions, because I always had a weight problem and I needed to take action. So the answer to this question is a bit of both. Andrei Plugar, or should I say Andrei Plugar. Which recipes would you recommend for breakfast, lunch and dinner that is good and fills you up? So here are my staple meals. This is like a typical day in the life, a typical full day of eating for me. So for breakfast, I either have one of three things. Either it's oatmeal, anabolic pancakes, or of course, Greg Doucette's anabolic French toast. For lunch I usually have 2 wraps filled with meat and veggies, and for dinner I usually have oven fries with meat and veggies, usually chicken breast, and for veggies whatever I can find around the house. Could be broccoli, could be cauliflower, it could be sauteed peas, sauteed green beans. There are a lot of options for greens. And of course I have some snacks and a piece of dessert after dinner time. Next question. MO has 2 questions. What would you suggest? I can't lose weight because I can't stop eating, not because I'm hungry, but I eat just because. Any tricks? Man, I feel you on this one. I sometimes struggle with the same issue myself. I find myself eating and eating and eating without actually being hungry. I just get stuck in that perma-eating mode. So whenever this happens to me, I need a reset button. And what I like to do, even though I know it's not a healthy option, I know it's not recommended for everybody, but I just slap it in the face. We all need a good slap every once in a while. So I fast for 1 day or 2 days, depending how I feel about it. And that actually helps me hit the reset button and get right back on track once the fast is complete. So try fasting for a full day. Don't put anything in your mouth, like food is lava. Don't touch any food for a full 24 hours. And then you will see the next day, you will be able to get right back on track and escape that perma-eating mode. That's how I deal with it. I'm not saying that's the way everybody should deal with it. It's just my opinion. And the second question from MO, what is the best diet hack? Well, again, unfortunately, there is no diet hack. There is no simple solution. There is no shortcut when it comes to dieting. I wish there was, but there isn't any. The best diet hack that at least works for me is to stay ahead of my hunger. I'm really bad with hunger. Whenever hunger strikes me, it also comes with elevated ghrelin levels and it just punches me in the face really bad. And I tend to overeat whenever I feel hunger coming on. So I personally need to stay ahead of my hunger because, as you know, hunger is signaled in the brain. And when you start eating, it takes some time before the information can come from your stomach all the way to the brain, telling your brain that it's okay, we're full, we shouldn't be hungry anymore. So I always tend to overeat way more than just to get past the hunger sensation. I try to avoid hunger as much as I can, except the days when I'm fasting. When you're fasting, you can't avoid it. You can trick hunger with coffee or with soda. But if you're not fasting on a regular day-to-day basis, then stay away from hunger and keep hunger in check. Next question. JNB4L asks, if you're stuck on an island with an unlimited supply of only one anabolic recipe, what would it be? Okay, so if I'm stuck on a deserted island, I would very much appreciate it if I could choose a full-on anabolic meal rather than just an anabolic recipe. If I'm stuck on an island and I have nothing else to eat except this one thing, I would want it to be a full-on meal so I can hit all of my macronutrients and micronutrients as well, because otherwise you won't be able to survive. So if I am allowed to choose an anabolic meal I could have an unlimited supply of, it would definitely be oven fries, chicken breast, and some veggies on the side. I can live on that forever, man. I can never get tired of that meal. I eat that almost every single day. So for me, it's really obvious that would be it. JMB also asks, are you going to intro the Q&A by saying you don't want to answer my question, then get the hell out of my kitchen? Well, Alejandro Lopez has oh man, I had so much fun with this question. He asks, would you rather fight 1 horse-sized rat or 100 rat-sized horses? I could make an entire video on this alone. So let's see if I could fight a horse-sized rat or 100 rat-sized horses. I'm not thinking Jurassic Park, man. If I was to choose between the large T-Rex and 100 smaller velociraptors, I would choose the large T-Rex any time of the day and not choose 100 of those little fuckers. I'm thinking, what if I lose the battle? I would really prefer to go down in 1 bite rather than go down with 100 bites. That's a painful way to go, man. But we're talking different animals here, so it's rats versus horses, man. Rats are vicious. Those fuckers are really, really vicious. And horses, well, horses are good boys, except when they're assholes. I will definitely choose 100 rat-sized horses and try to make friends with them and try to keep them all as pets. That would be awesome. Rahul Lal has 4 questions for me. So, number 1. Do you eat protein bars? Well, I rarely eat protein bars because I generally don't like protein bars. I hated protein bars for the longest time because they're all filled with carbs, they're filled with sugar, they're not actually protein bars, they're more like carb bars. And the taste is not really all that good. I've tasted a lot of them, but I never found one that I actually like until more recently when a user suggested me a protein bar I never knew existed. And I'll show you in just a moment, because his second question is, if so, what kind do you like and dislike? Well, I dislike the standard chocolate flavor ones because they don't taste like chocolate, they don't taste like anything at all, they usually just taste like cardboard. But I do like one type of protein bar, and I'll show you, I even have one around. This is the type of protein bar I like. The brand doesn't tell you anything because I live in Eastern Europe and we don't have the same brands here. But I'll show you what type of protein bar this is. It looks like a candy bar, and once you open it up, it's just like a Bounty bar, man. It's filled with coconut and chocolate on the outside, and it tastes just like a Bounty bar. So if you like Bounty and if you like coconut, this is a must-have. What I hate about these bars is they are always too high in calories for me. This bar has 200 calories. I can think of several better ways to eat 200 calories than this. So that's the reason I really don't eat too many protein bars. But if I have to choose one protein bar, it will definitely be the coconut one. His third question is, what is my favorite food and main source of protein? This doesn't get any more boring than what I'm about to answer you now. It's chicken breast, man. That is my favorite main source of protein because I can cook some really good juicy chicken breast using soy sauce. It's really easy to make and it's really, really tasty feeling and a really good source of protein. His third question is, what is your favorite flavor for anything sweet like chocolate, vanilla, etc.? Well, this is a hard one because my taste periodically changes. Sometimes I'm all about chocolate, so it's chocolate this, chocolate that, chocolate everything. But other times I switch to vanilla completely and I can't stand chocolate. So it's just, I can't stay true to one specific flavor. I like both chocolate and vanilla. It's somewhere in between. And his final question, how did you learn to create YouTube videos, like part of a job, a course, etc.? I wasn't even aware I learned how to make YouTube videos. I just improvised, man. I started making YouTube videos, like I just hit the record button and have at it. I didn't take any course, I didn't study anything beforehand. However, I do have a few skills which comes from my youth, from when I had more time. I always experimented things on my PC. I went from 3D modeling to audio editing, Photoshop, video editing. I never got any good at any of them, but I learned the basics. That helped me a lot because I had a base, I had somewhere to start on. I didn't have to learn everything from scratch because video editing is the hardest part. It's not hard to press record on the camera and start talking, but the hard part is editing the video. So I had a head start on that because I already knew the basics from like 10 years ago. But again, I never got any good at it. I only knew the basics. I had a lot to learn as I filmed, as I edited, as I progressed. It's an ongoing process. There is always something new to learn every time I edit a new video. Next question. Priscilla Bahau asks, even on the anabolic diet, do you sometimes binge on junk? Example, a full 10 on 10 donut from a real donut shop? Well, of course I do, because the anabolic diet is not actually a diet. It's a lifestyle. But it's not a restrictive lifestyle, it's not a restrictive diet. If I want to eat a high calorie dense food, like a 10 on 10 donut or a Snickers bar or whatever, I go and eat it, subtract it from my total daily calorie budget, and that's that. It's a flexible diet. It's an if it fits your macros type of diet. I can eat whatever I want as long as I don't go overboard on my total daily calorie budget. And even if I do, I always have the next day when I can compensate from my mistakes on the previous day. I add another cardio session and I can level that out. So I don't restrict anything from my diet. If I feel the need to eat a high calorie dense food, I will eat it. The next question is how to handle an all you can eat buffet when on a deficit. Are there any rules, like to stop at 3 plates? So not going or carrying your own food to the event are not options here. Consider your spot was paid for and you have to go and eat. How to handle it? Okay, so whenever you go to an all you can eat buffet, you usually know about it ahead of time. So you have a bit of time to plan ahead. So here is how I handle this type of situation. If this is something that is not planned, I won't go to the event. If I have at least one day ahead, these events are usually in the evening. They're not during the day, they're not during the morning, they're usually after 8 o'clock. So how I handle this situation is I fast that entire day. I won't eat anything up until the event, well, up until just before the event, and I'll tell you why. I keep myself distracted. I drink a lot of coffee, I drink a lot of soda just to keep my hunger in check, and I want to keep myself busy as much as I can so I don't think about food, just to get through the day. And then, right before the event, I like to eat the biggest salad any person can eat, like 4 pounds of salad. Go to that event full on salad. That's how I cope with it. I don't eat anything, and then right before, I fill myself up right to the point where I can't eat anymore on low calorie salad. There will be food you will definitely eat there because there are always tasty desserts there and there will be some amazing dishes there. But trust me, if you go hungry, you don't want to go hungry to these events. So fast the entire day and then fill yourself up as much as you can. Go stuffed, absolutely stuffed to that event. And your chances to overeat and binge on that event are extremely low because you're already full and you're already stuffed. Brandon's Anabolic Journey, my main man in Japan, asks, do you have a favorite anabolic recipe creator? That's a good one. I did not have a favorite anabolic recipe creator up until I discovered Nick or Exercise for Cheat Meals. He is my favorite recipe creator and I'll tell you why. I am the type of person who likes to get information out of the recipes and all of the information I can from the creator himself. So I like someone that explains everything, that explains why a certain ingredient is added, because otherwise I would just stand there like, what's that gonna do? Why are you adding that? How will that improve the recipe? Why is that? So I always ask these questions to myself when watching YouTube videos. But recipe creators such as Exercise for Cheat Meals always answers all of my questions without me ever trying to ask them myself, because he provides a lot of information on his recipes and I always like to learn from the recipe creator. I like that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for one day. Teach a man how to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime. So the same principle applies here. Show me a recipe and I can make that recipe, but teach me why you chose to add some of these ingredients and I can apply those principles to all of the other recipes I attempt to make. So I like to get the information out of the videos as well. Next question. Okay, Brandon has 2 questions actually, so the next question he asks is, how do you count calories for food cooked by someone else if you don't know the recipe? So whenever I eat something that I don't know how that recipe was made, I try to guesstimate as best as I can and then I add 25% more calories to that recipe. Works every time, because we always underestimate the food that we eat. Fellow anabolic creator Adil or No Deal asks, what's your favorite cheat meal? Oh man, this is the big reveal. My favorite cheat meal. My favorite cheat meal is actually my favorite snack, my favorite junk food. And that is wafers, man. I know it's a weird one, but I'm the biggest fan of wafers there can be. I don't know if they're so big in the US because I never see wafers in any of the YouTube creators. Cheat meals, cheat days, full days of eating, whatever. I never ever see wafers. What I mean by wafers is I think I saw some popular wafers in the US made by Little Debbie's, like Nutty Buddies, I think they were called. They're just the wafer sheets and cream in between and covered in chocolate. There is this company, an Italian company called Loaker, that makes the best wafers in the world in my opinion, and man, I can binge on some wafers like crazy. Wafers to me are just like donuts are to Will Tennyson. It's weird, it's strange, but I am a huge wafers fan. Adil's next question is, what's your profession? My profession, I guess computer science would be the proper term for it. I have a college degree in IT, informatic technology, and I currently have a job I've been at for the past 6 years. I'm a web designer / web developer for a small but really successful local IT company. And I also finished law school. I bet you guys never expected that one, did you? Yes, I have 2 college degrees. First was law school and the second is IT. I never actually practiced law because of reasons I don't want to disclose here. Corruption. Next question. So both JRZ24 and fellow YouTuber Soria Basnet, they both asked the same question. In your opinion, what is your best recipe? Okay, so the best recipe I've made so far, in my opinion, is the Boston cream cake. And why is that? Because I have narrowed down that cake base. It was the most cakey one so far. In my opinion, that is the best recipe so far. It resembles a real cake better than any other cake base I've ever made. So, Boston cream cake. My man, Josh vs Fitness, the casserole connoisseur himself, asks, will you be getting a stationary virtual bike anytime soon? I actually do have a home trainer, but it's just a traditional home trainer. It's not the smart kind you can connect to Zwift and race other players. It's just the standard one. You can put your bike on it and ride your bike indoors. I'm not a huge indoor bike fan really. I prefer the outdoors. I'm a mountain biker mostly. I like the mountain trails, I like the fresh air, and I like riding my bike outside way more than I do inside. I mean, I do ride my bike inside when the weather doesn't allow it. I just put some Netflix on and ride my bike indoors, but I always prefer riding outside. I'm part of a local mountain biking group and I always like riding with the gang. Josh's second question is, do you have any culinary background? Well, no, I don't have any culinary background. I started cooking in college. I was always interested in cooking. Like I said in a previous question, I was always around my mom when she cooks. My mom is an amazing cook, so I learned a lot from her. And by the time I went to college, I already had more cooking skills than a lot of my friends. I used to cook for them in college. I used to make some amazing oven roasts. And I used to make some really mean recipes, even back then. So it's something that comes naturally to me. But again, it's based on my mom's cooking, but I don't have any official culinary background. I never had any job which involves cooking, so it's just a hobby for me and something I picked up along the way. Heinz from Deadlifting asks, how's the New Year cut going? Next question. Just kidding. It's going rather slow. I have to make that update video as I hope I can make it sooner rather than later, but it's going rather slow because now I'm a YouTube anabolic recipe creator and one that focuses on desserts and that. So it's not easy being in a calorie deficit when I always have to experiment new recipes, I always have to taste them. It's like constant eating. I'm making 10 batches a day, and even though you say you're just tasting, you're not actually eating all of the tests, all of the experiments, but you'll be surprised how much the calories add up. Even when you're just tasting, the calories really add up, and it's really difficult to stay in a calorie deficit when you're constantly around food and you're constantly eating. So I need to find a way to better cope with the situation, if I want to speed up the process. But I don't plan on competing in any bodybuilding show, in any event. There aren't any bike ride competitions either because of the cove. So I can prolong this cut as much as I want to. I don't want to cut all the way to the end of the summer, so I will have to speed up the process somehow. Hopefully by mid-summer I will be able to achieve my goals. His next question is, what is my favorite recipe I've made on this channel? So my favorite recipe has to be the protein balls. I love the protein balls because of their versatility. I always have protein balls in my freezer. Even now I have a full batch in there. I just like how easy they are to make, and whenever I feel the need to have a quick snack, I always go to the freezer, get a handful, and they're low calories and high protein. They're just an amazing snack to have around. Heinz's next question is, what does your wife think about your YouTube aspirations? Well, how should I put this? She hates that I don't get to spend as much time with her as I did before starting YouTube, but she's always been supportive. She respects my decision, but she encourages me to push forward. She actually watches my channel growth and analytics more than I do, so I really have her support on this. His next question is, do you have a big local YouTube following? I have a 0 local YouTube following. The only 2 people in my life that actually know I have a YouTube channel is my wife and my brother. None of my friends, none of my other family members actually know I do YouTube videos. What is the reason for that? Why don't I have a local YouTube following? Well, because it's in a different language. I'm from Romania. I speak English rather well, I would say. But my friends, my family, they understand English, but not enough for them to actually watch my videos, to actually be interested in this content. I never share this with them because they will never watch something they don't truly understand. So I am thinking about starting a second YouTube channel in my native language for my local followers, but I don't think I'll be able to handle 2 YouTube channels, at least not right now, because I still have my daytime job. I'm not getting paid by YouTube. I do need my job as my main source of income, but if I manage in the future to become a full-on YouTuber and I can quit my daytime job and this will become my main source of income, then probably I will be able to handle a second YouTube channel in my native language. But until then, I'm stuck with 0 local YouTube following. And Heinz's last question is, have I ever been to America? No, I have never been to America, but it's on my bucket list, so to say. I wish that I will be able to come visit the States because it's something I always wanted to do, and I really hope I can one day get to do it. John Sharp from John Sharp Fitness asks, what is your daily weight training and cardio routine like? Well, my cardio routine is sporadic, I think. It's mostly dictated by the weather outside. My cardio usually consists of bike riding. I'm a mountain biker, I'm part of a local mountain biking group, and we go out whenever we can and whenever the weather allows it. If it's too cold, we can't go. If it's too rainy, too muddy, if the weather is not favorable, then I'm stuck indoors. I ride my bike on my home trainer. I also have access to a private gym at my workplace where I have a treadmill, a stepper, and a rowing machine. So whenever I can ride my bike outside, I do cardio like 5 or 6 times a week. But in winter time or when it's really rainy, I tone down my cardio to like 2 or 3 times a week because I do indoor cardio, and I really don't enjoy indoor cardio as much as I do riding my bike outside. As far as my weight training goes, it's the standard push-pull legs 5 times a week. I skip 1 leg day, I do push-pull legs, push-pull, and then I rest. Because I ride my bike a lot and my legs get hit really hard in those climbs, and I don't want to overtrain my legs because they will get really tired, and it will also affect my performance when riding my bike. So 1 leg day a week is more than enough for me. I do 8 to 12 reps, 3 to 4 sets per each exercise. I do like 3 exercises per muscle group, and nothing crazy, it's just a standard workout. A lot of people use this training split, this amount of sets and reps, but I do enjoy my workouts and I am consistent with my weight training. More consistent than with my cardio. John also asks, would you ever consider doing a vlog style content? Yes, I would. I actually thought about this in the past, and I think I will give it a shot in the near future and see how it goes. So yes, I do plan on making vlog style content as well. Lucas Shipman, or better known as Zanny, has a few questions for me as well. Let's see what he asks. What were you doing before YouTube, and how did you spend your days before all the recipe tasting and eating? Okay, so I'm not a full-on YouTuber yet, so I'm still doing the same thing I was doing before starting YouTube. I mean, I still have my daytime job. I've had this job for the past 6 years or so. Indeed, before YouTube, I had a lot more free time on my hands. I got to spend more time with my wife, I got to spend more time hanging out with friends and family, and I also had more time to just play PC games. I am a big role-playing games fan, but unfortunately now I don't have time for games any longer. Now I cook, make experiments, taste test and provide anabolic recipes for you guys. Zanny's second question is, how many recipes does your wife end up enjoying that are things she would realistically eat again if given the option? Since I cook around the house, she rarely cooks anything. She eats whatever I cook, and whenever we eat at home, that's mostly dinner. She's not a big fan of anabolic recipes, but here is why. She's not a big fan of protein powder. She will eat anything that doesn't have protein powder in it. So whenever I cook dinners, whenever I cook something savory, meats, veggies, healthy carb sources, she always eats those. She enjoys those meals, and she enjoys some of my desserts, but especially the ones that don't have any protein powder in them, like my apple crumble. She's a big fan of the apple crumble. My Easter cheesecake recipe, but whenever there's a high amount of protein powder involved, she won't touch the stuff. She really hates protein ice cream. Next question. Homemade nut butters, yay or nay? Well, Zanny, actually the next episode of Homemade or Just Paid will feature exactly that. So stay tuned for the next episode of Homemade or Just Paid, where I will be making homemade nut butters. They're a yay. Batbeat Flink asks, what ingredients for anabolic recipes don't exist in your country? Okay, for the longest time I couldn't find the gums, the xanthan gum and the guar gum in my country. They were nowhere to be found, not even ordered online. Nowadays, I actually have access to all of the anabolic ingredients you can see in any anabolic recipe on YouTube, except the ones that are specific to the US, like the ones that are made by a specific creator, like FDL has his own butter powders. He doesn't ship outside the US, so it's natural I don't have access to those, but any standard ingredient that's not US specific, I can get a hold of. The major drawback here is that I cannot find these ingredients in supermarkets. I have to order everything in, like 80% of the ingredients I use in my recipes are ordered in. So that's kind of a real pain in the ass, but gotta do what you gotta do. Custard Delight asks, what is your favorite food? My favorite food right now is the same it has been for the past 10 years since I discovered it, and that is oven fries. And I'm not kidding, I'm such a big fries fan. I ate a lot of French fries when I was young, that's why I was obese. But ever since I discovered oven fries, I like oven fries actually more than French fries. If I had two bowls in front of me right now, one was with French fries and the other was with oven fries, and calories and macros didn't matter at all, I would choose the oven fries based on taste alone. I don't know if my taste has changed in the past 10 years or what's going on, but I, right now, like the taste of oven fries better than regular French fries. And of course, pizza. Everybody loves pizza. My favorite pizza is quattro formaggi, and that's the 4 cheese pizza. I eat pizza very, very rarely, and whenever I do, I'm going for the full calorie, full fat pizza. I sacrifice a day, I fast the entire day, and I go out and I have a full on 4 cheese pizza, and that keeps my sanity in check. D. Bobby Dobson asks, what's the process for creating a recipe? I assume he's talking about anabolic recipes, of course, not just any recipe. So there are two types of anabolic recipes. The first type is the copycat recipe, where you take a high calorie dense food and try to make a low calorie version, an anabolic version of it. You first need the real deal. You first need to taste the food. You need to see the texture. You need to see the taste. You need to see the amount of moisture in it. Then you look at the ingredients. If it's something you can buy, you look at the food label, you see the ingredients, and then you make a list of something you can substitute, like standard substitutions, sugar for erythritol, fats for applesauce. But you also have to improvise, because you can't just go at it the simple way and substitute this, substitute that, recipe done. Oh no. You have to get creative and see what type of replacements you had to make. Like, I made Nutella out of kidney beans, man, so you can imagine you really have to get creative in that process. Now, the second type of anabolic recipe is the experimental type, like my protein balls. It's something that doesn't have a high calorie dense food correlation, that doesn't copy any of the high calorie foods. I couldn't compare my protein balls to any other recipe because they're an original recipe and they're just something I experimented with. I was like, okay, I got some chickpeas, what the hell can I make out of these ones? I put them in the Ninja blender, mashed them up, I tasted them, and I was like, okay, what should I go with, sweet or salty? Okay, let's go with sweet. Added some sweetener. Okay, let's make this chocolatey. I added cocoa powder, I added protein powder, and the protein balls were born from just experimenting and trying out new things. And his second question is, what was my motivation to start fitness? That was my motivation to start fitness. I think that speaks for itself. That selfie was actually the selfie I took that sparked my entire fitness journey, because I gained so much fat. That was me like 10 years ago or maybe 12 years ago right now, not even sure. I gained a lot of weight. I was like 110 kilograms, that's 220 pounds I think. I was really depressed at that moment. I took that selfie and I decided this cannot go any further. I need to do something about it and I need to act now. And that was the spark I needed to start my fitness journey. The next day after taking that selfie, I started working out, I started exercising, I started dieting, I started going on all of these crazy diets until I came to the anabolic diet, and I've been stuck on this diet. In fact, it's a lifestyle and not a diet for like the past 5 years I think, or maybe 6, I'm not sure. So there you have it guys. I'm not sure how long I've been rambling about. It's been more than 1 hour in front of the camera, but after editing, hopefully I can narrow it down to a watchable time. So thanks for watching. I hope I managed to answer all of your questions. If you have more questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification icon so you get notified every time I put out a new video. Let me know in the comment section below if this is something you enjoy watching, if I should make more of these, and I will see you guys in the next one sooner rather than later. Cheers!